2. The surroundings of the Yunluo Academy were surrounded by towering mountains. It was the best place for many students to cultivate. There was no lack of powerful spirit beasts in these mountains. To the students of the academy, these spirit beasts were perfect for cultivation. Apart from that, there was also a desert and a stream in the mountains. All kinds of environments complemented each other. This was also one of the reasons why the Yunluo Academy was built here. Swoosh! 2 human figures suddenly rushed over in the calm mountain forest. They stopped in front of an empty land. Surprisingly, it was Xiaoyan and Mu Yiyue. This place is not bad. No one will disturb us. Looking at the surroundings, Mu Yiyue nodded her head in satisfaction. With the illusion purple eye, she could clearly see that there were no signs of life within a few miles. Oh right, before the fight, I want to know if you used your full strength when you fought Zhu Tianwo in Heaven Pillar Peak. Mu Yiyue looked at Xiaoyan and said in a melodious voice. Xiaoyan thought for a while and shook his head. Back then, he was restricted by the environment at the peak of the Heaven Pillar Peak. The origin monarch chi within his body had been consumed intensely. He had only used the blue flame ruler for a short period of time before giving up. Naturally, he did not dare to try using the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus that consumed the most Buddha Fury Fire Lotuses. Seeing Xiaoyan nod his head, Mu Yiyue was stunned for a moment. Then, her smile became even wider. Sure enough, you are really hiding your true strength. This is also good. Don't hold back today. Let me see your true strength. Just as her voice fell, Mu Yiyue already shouted out. Her figure flashed and appeared like a white lightning that broke through the sky. Her speed was not inferior to Wu Shaoqi's. Xiaoyan lifted his eyebrows. He did not dare to be careless. The origin monarch chi within his body whistled. Without the ability to shrink back in the Heaven Pillar Peak, Xiaoyan's chi soared into the sky. His body moved and rushed towards Mu Yiyue. The two of them did not use the monarch skill. They merely relied on their strong physical bodies to exchange blows. In an instant, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Bang! Both of their palms collided. Xiaoyan only felt a tightness in his chest. His body involuntarily pulled back, leaving a deep mark on the ground. Mu Yiyue merely shook her body and the force disappeared. Xiaoyan looked at Mu Yiyue. The latter still had a smile on her face, as though she was not affected at all. However, purple light flowed within her eyes. Xiaoyan sighed in his heart. He involuntarily laughed bitterly. Mu Yiyue had clearly seen his attack path under the illusory purple eyes. He merely used a little physical strength to easily block all of his attacks. Under such circumstances, he was completely at a disadvantage. All right. Xiaoyan's eyes focused. The origin monarch chi in his body was roaring crazily. In the next moment, a huge white tiger phantom appeared behind him. At the same time, Xiaoyan's speed had soared. He arrived in front of Mu Yiyue in an instant. Mu Yiyue's eyes were filled with purple light. She had seen Xiaoyan's move before in Heaven Pillar Peak. She was not surprised. Her beautiful figure continuously retreated while Xiaoyan, who had transformed into a white tiger, chased after her relentlessly. The accumulated qi in his body also slowly rose. White tiger sky-shattering strike. When the qi rose to its peak, Xiaoyan suddenly roared. He raised his huge tiger claw and smashed it towards Mu Yiyue like it was suppressing everything. Mu Yiyue's expression did not change. Her eyes were extremely calm. She did not panic even when the tiger palm landed. White tiger spiritual spell. Xiaoyan's eyes were slightly red. The origin monarch qi in his body surged wildly. The white tiger behind him seemed to have materialized as it rushed explosively towards Mu Yiyue. The surrounding mountain rocks were blasted away by the fierce aura of the white tiger and exploded. Deep marks had long been left on the ground and dust filled the air. Mu Yiyue finally made a move the moment the white tiger charged forward. Both of her arms were suddenly lifted. Purple light wrapped around her 10 fingers. 10 purple chains suddenly rose from the ground and swiftly wrapped around the white tiger. The latter raised his head and roared furiously but was unable to break free. Xiaoyan was stunned when he saw this. Soon after, he came to a sudden realization. During the process of retreating, Mu Yiyue had already prepared this monarch skill underground and was waiting for him to unleash the third style of the white tiger arts. I never thought that you would also have the monarch arts. Looking at the purple chains that wrapped around the white tiger's body, Xiaoyan couldn't help but look at Mu Yiyue. He was only able to have the White Tiger arts by luck, and it was only because of the Xiaoao's reminder that he was able to cultivate the third style of the White Tiger arts. Mu Yiyu's talent was indeed amazing. This Monarch skill of yours is stronger than the first level. It will reach the level of the Monarch arts when you reach the third level. It is truly amazing. That's why I have been waiting for you to use the third level. How about it? Although my 10 Solar Illusions purple chain is only a beginner-level Monarch arts, it is still one of the stronger types. Your White Tiger has also been trapped. Mu Yiyu's 10 fingers moved continuously. 10 purple chains buzzed and entangled the White Tiger. No matter how hard the latter struggled, it was unable to break free. This 10 Solar Illusions purple chain complements my Illusion Purple Eye. Under the effect of the Illusion Purple Eye, even a middle Monarch arts can't withstand it. After hearing Mu Yiyu's words, Xiaoyan couldn't help but nod secretly. As expected of a person with a special constitution, the Illusion Purple Eye that grew up was indeed much stronger than Zhu Tianwo's Sacred Fire Body. I am satisfied that I can use this technique to force you to use your strongest attack. This technique must have consumed a lot of Origin Monarch Qis. Xiaoyan narrowed his eyes and looked at Mu Yiyue. Seeing the latter nod her head, Xiaoyan gently smiled and suddenly clenched his left fist. Alright, next, let's begin the second round of battle. The White Tiger, which was entangled by the 10 Yang illusionary purple chains, roared towards the sky as it spoke. Light flowed on its body and it exploded in an instant. The 10 chains, which were flickering with purple light, also disappeared. The second round is good. Mu Yiyue, who had recovered from her shock, also gently smiled. She pulled back the hair by her ear and her eyes suddenly became tough. She gently shifted her feet and rushed towards Xiaoyan. A light purple thin sword had unknowingly appeared in her delicate hand. Purple qi surged on the blade of the sword. The lines were unique. Clearly, it was an extraordinary item. Xiaoyan flipped his body and dodged the sword qi that was rushing towards him. At the same time, the blue flame ruler also appeared in his hand. Following a puffing sound, the crimson gold flame wrapped around it. Seeing the crimson gold flame on the blue flame ruler, Mu Yiyu's forward body suddenly stopped. She frowned slightly. She softly said, "Monarch flame." Mu Yiyu's expression was solemn when she saw Xiaoyan nod his head. She cried out in a lovely voice and the Origin Monarch Qi had already wrapped around her body. The purple Origin Qi rotated and even the air was cut apart. "Who?" The Emperor Flame on the blue flame ruler swallowed and exhaled. Xiaoyan did not hesitate any longer. Wind was blowing on the soles of his feet. 9 revolving wind-shifting steps was unleashed. Although it was not as fast as Wu Xiaoqi's speed, it was like a spark that shot towards Mu Yiyue. Swoosh! The whistling sound seemed to tear through the air. Purple light flowed within Mu Yiyu's eyes. Her left shoulder shook slightly and she dodged the whistling blue flame ruler. Although the flame on it was lingering, it was cut apart by the purple Origin Qi. Xiaoyan's eyes focused. His wrist suddenly turned and the blue flame ruler also paused. The ruler was directly thrown towards Mu Yiyu's waist. Under such circumstances, Xiaoyan could not care less about tender feelings for the fairer sex. Mu Yiyue raised her eyebrows and waved her delicate hand. The purple thin sword blocked in front of her waist. A huge force was transmitted over, but it was as if it was swallowed by the purple thin sword. Mu Yiyu's body trembled and she left Xiaoyan far away. Good sword technique. Seeing Mu Yiyue use this heavenly weapon magically, Xiaoyan could not help but cheer. He tightened the grip of the ruler in his hand and rushed towards Mu Yiyue once again. On the surface of the ruler, the golden flame quietly separated and poured into the ruler. Threads of lightning arcs that were difficult to see with the naked eye instantly jumped up and down. Mu Yiyue let out a light breath and gently raised her delicate hand. The purple patterns on the thin purple sword vibrated and emitted a sharp sound. Wang! The sword lightly flicked and Mu Yiyu's beautiful figure moved and fearlessly charged forward. Purple light filled the sky. A majestic aura spread out, causing the surrounding mountain rocks to buzz and fill with spiderweb-like cracks. On the flat ground, the gullies were crisscrossing. Xiaoyan and Mu Yiyue collided fiercely. Buzz! The sound of metal clashing rang out. Xiaoyan's expression was solemn. Mu Yiyu's purple thin sword was also a heavenly weapon. His blue flame ruler did not have the slightest advantage in this aspect. The only thing that gave him the upper hand was the monarch flame that was coiled around the blue flame ruler. As he thought about it, Xiao Yan's wrist shook. The blue flame ruler cut across the space and stood in front of him, blocking Mu Yiyu's ethereal sword. When the purple origin chi came into contact with the monarch flame, a sizzling sound was heard. Borrowing this force, Mu Yiyue twisted her waist and gently landed in the distance. There was an additional solemnness in her eyes. Although they had only exchanged a few blows, she had already sensed the might of the monarch flame. This kind of flame could even corrode her origin monarch chi. Xiao Yan's body suddenly rushed forward the moment Mu Yiyue dodged. The lightning arcs on the blue flame ruler rolled. Golden lightning spread in all directions. The ruler suddenly smashed towards the ground. A couple of thunderbolts roared as they rushed explosively towards Mu Yiyue. 8-directional thunder ruler. Following Xiao Yan's low cry, this entire area seemed to be filled with lightning. Angry lightning was just like a spear as it surged towards Mu Yiyue in unison. A trace of shock flashed across Mu Yiyu's eyes. Her eyebrows slightly knitted and her expression did not change. The purple thin sword in her hand shot out several sword flowers. Purple chi filled the air. The sword flowers seemed to have turned into solid objects, rushing towards the surging lightning. Purple spirit, full of beauty. Mu Yiyue gently opened her mouth and softly spat out 5 words. In an instant, several sword flowers grew with the wind and wrapped around all the lightning. Following the blooming of the sword flowers, the lightning and sword flowers dissipated into the space. Seeing Mu Yiyue easily neutralize his attack, Xiao Yan couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The strength of this girl in front of him was much stronger than Zhu Tianwo. She was probably on par with Yuan Tianmu. The strength you have displayed is indeed much stronger than the strength you showed back in Heaven Pillar Peak, but it's only about the same as Wu Shaoqi. It's impossible for you to defeat me. Forget it. I will tell you about what happened in illusory spirit space. Seeing Xiao Yan's solemn face, Mu Yiyue giggled. Her aura slowly fell and the purple thin sword in her hand was also kept into the storage ring. She wiped the sweat on her forehead and slowly said, "That might not be the case." Xiao Yan suddenly smiled and suddenly inserted the blue flame ruler into the ground. His burning eyes stared at Mu Yiyue and the corner of his mouth revealed a trace of a smile. "What I want to hear is about the secrets of the illusory spirit space." As he spoke, the origin monarch chi in Xiao Yan's body started circulating rapidly. Under the burning of the monarch flame, it seemed to have obtained an endless amount of vitality and started boiling. Heavenly monarch fire burning body. Following a low shout, Xiao Yan's aura instantly burst forth. His aura also rose steadily, and he instantly broke through to the emperor level. When Mu Yiyue saw this, she was also stunned. When she sensed Xiao Yan's chi continuously rising, her pretty face finally revealed a trace of shock. Hong. In almost a blink of an eye, Xiao Yan had already reached the strength of 7 emperors. He was no different from Mu Yiyue. The hot chi reverberated, causing the ground that he was standing on to crack. This is a secret technique? Mu Yiyu's eyes could not hide the shock in her eyes. It was only after Xiao Yan's soaring aura had paused that she let out a sigh of relief. What level was the secret technique that could increase one's strength by so much? Come on. In this state, I can't hold on for long. Xiao Yan parted his mouth and smiled. A bright light flashed in his eyes. His body rushed forward and his speed was more than twice as fast as before. So fast. Mu Yiyu's heart shook. The purple light in her eyes suddenly brightened. As the purple light lingered, she could clearly see Xiao Yan's movements. Immediately, her delicate body moved slightly and dodged Xiao Yan's punch. Although this was the case, the monarch flame that surrounded Xiao Yan still caused her face to hurt. Facing Xiao Yan, whose strength had soared, her purple origin chi could no longer block the high temperature of the monarch flame. When the punch was empty, Xiao Yan's body suddenly stopped. He changed his fist into a palm and ruthlessly hacked to the side. Mu Yiyue possessed the illusion purple eye, which allowed her to see all of his movements, but she also possessed the strength of an alien realm soul. She could also clearly see the latter's movements, and as her strength increased, the sensitivity of her soul power also increased greatly, and she easily determined the direction Mu Yiyue was dodging in. Oh! Xiao Yan's hand blade whistled as his figure flashed and appeared. Mu Yiyue clenched her teeth and extended her delicate hand in a lightning-like manner. She managed to block the hand blade. Hiss. The pain that came from her wrist caused Mu Yiyue to involuntarily suck in a breath of cold air. The Xiaoyans around Xiaoyan's body had invaded her purple origin qi the moment they came into contact and heavily injured her wrist. Taking a few steps back, Mu Yiyu's pretty face turned red, and her eyes were filled with purple qi. However, for the first time, she could not figure out what Xiaoyan was going to do next. This is your true strength? Truly amazing. If Big Brother knew about it, I'm afraid he would be shocked as well. Mu Yiyue lightly exhaled, her eyes slightly curved as she smiled and said. Xiaoyan heard her and smiled noncommittally. He clenched his fist and the crimson gold flame in his palm made a sizzling sound. He looked at Mu Yiyue and said, "You can tell me about the secrets of the illusory spirit space now." Mu Yiyu's smile became even wider when she heard that. I did not say that I lost. However, if you can withstand my strongest move, I will naturally know everything. As he spoke, his body trembled before he retreated. He only stopped when he was tens of meters away from Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan, I'm afraid that you will not be able to withstand this attack of mine. Feel the aura of this attack and see if you have the courage to receive it. Mu Yiyue smiled slightly. Immediately, she spread her arms gently like a white crane spreading its wings. Endless purple-colored origin qis continuously surged out from her body and gathered at her head. In an instant, a millstone-sized purple-colored light ball slowly took shape. Xiaoyan focused his eyes and looked over. The purple-colored light ball seemed to contain an endless pressure. Just by looking at it, he could feel an invisible pressure in the air. The surrounding mountain rocks trembled and trembled. They were nearly shattered. Mu Yiyu's face was extremely pale at this moment. The purple light in her eyes had also dimmed significantly. She had lost her former spirit, but the purple light ball above her head had become increasingly powerful. Compete in momentum? Xiaoyan clenched his teeth. Suddenly, he smiled gently. After which, he lowered his qi and ignored the pressure that was spreading over. Both of his hands slowly extended and two flames of different colors leapt out from his palms. Soul energy flowed out from between his eyebrows and completely covered his hands. He looked at his nose and nose. The strength of the two flames on Xiaoyan's hands swiftly reached the same level. After which, his hands slowly closed. Boom! An endless pressure erupted from Xiaoyan's palm the moment the two flames came into contact. The surrounding trembling mountain rocks could no longer hold on and shattered with a loud bang. The pressure, which was several times stronger than Mu Yiyu's, shot up into the sky and instantly swallowed the pressure of the purple light ball. Mu Yiyue looked at Xiaoyan with a stunned expression. The pressure that spread out from Xiaoyan's hands frightened her. It was as if she could see a fire lotus that contained the aura of destruction gradually taking shape. What a freak! Mu Yiyue blinked her beautiful eyes and pouted. She stretched her 10 fingers and the purple light ball above her head instantly turned into thousands of rays of purple light and disappeared into her body. Forget it. I lost. After muttering softly, Mu Yiyue said angrily. Tu Xiaoyan, who was fully focused on controlling the monarch flame merger, heard Mu Yiyu's voice. The tension in his heart suddenly relaxed. If Mu Yiyue insisted on not admitting defeat, once this Buddha Fury Fire Lotus was formed, even he would not be able to control it. If Mu Yiyue was injured, he really would not know how to explain it to the academy. As he thought about it, Xiaoyan held his breath and concentrated. Under the powerful soul force, the two flames that came into contact with each other slowly dispersed. That shocking aura that caused one's scalp to feel numb also quietly dissipated. Xiaoyan carefully separated the two flames. His forehead was also covered with a layer of sweat. Compared to fusing with the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus, separating the two monarch flames that were about to merge together was the most exhausting thing. Swoosh! Mu Yiyue leapt a couple of times and arrived in front of Xiaoyan. She looked at the ladder. Mu Yiyue could not help but be speechless when she saw the ladder. Her pretty face was filled with disbelief. How did that move earlier have such great power? Even the monarch arts couldn't possibly have that kind of imposing manner. Xiaoyan smiled bitterly and shook his head when he heard that. What level of power had the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus reached? He was confused, so he naturally couldn't explain it clearly to Mu Yiyue. Phew, his strength had also rapidly dropped. The weakness that came from his body caused Xiaoyan to involuntarily suck in a breath of cold air. All the meridians in his body seemed to have been roasted intensely, and the consumption of the origin monarch chi was even more severe. Xiao Yan's face was pale. He pulled the blue flame ruler from the ground and kept it into his storage ring. He forced his weak body to sit on a huge rock. He took out a medicine pill and swallowed it, temporarily suppressing the discomfort in his body. After watching Xiao Yan do all of this, Mu Yiyue smiled and shook her head. She came in front of Xiao Yan and glanced at him. She pursed her lips and smiled. If I had known earlier that it would be so unbearable, why would I still use the secret technique? Xiao Yan smiled bitterly and took a deep breath. He looked at Mu Yiyue with a touch of excitement. I will have to trouble Senior to tell me the details of the illusory spirit space. Mu Yiyue nodded and sorted out her thoughts. Illusory spirit space is the common place of cultivation for the 4 big academies. The Yunluo Academy only has 15 days in a year. I have gone in twice and brother has already gone in 5 or 6 times. The biggest difference between illusory spirit space and illusory spirit realm is that after entering, everyone will be randomly sent to a place. They will have to face any danger alone. Of course, if they are lucky, they might be able to meet other people. If they work together, it will be much easier. There are many demons in the illusory spirit space that are transformed from origin chis, and their strengths are different. After defeating them, we will be able to obtain the origin beads in their bodies. At that time, we just need to refine them. Of course, the strength of those monsters were extremely formidable. Without special means, they would not be able to harm him in the slightest. Moreover, most of them had intelligence and wanted to kill them. It's quite difficult. Xiao Yan could not help but laugh bitterly when he heard this. He understood what was going on. If it was really so easy to kill, the strength of the students who entered should have soared, and they would not need to spend so much effort to train. You will naturally know about these things when you enter. I'm only giving you a reminder in advance. Mu Yiyue pondered for a moment and looked at Xiao Yan. Her expression became a little heavy. What I want to say next is what my brother felt in illusory spirit space and some things that the elder mentioned to him. After a pause, Mu Yiyue softly said, "It is said that this illusory spirit space was a battlefield in ancient times. There were several major battles that broke out in this place. That is why there were countless experts who died in it. Most of those demons had died after those experts had died. Due to a series of strange changes, the origin chis that had yet to dissipate within their bodies had transformed. In essence, we killed those monsters. Seizing the origin beads in their bodies is the same as seizing the origin chis in the bodies of those dead people." Hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but frown. This kind of thing sounded really uncomfortable. You don't have to worry. After the war, those experts will use the Grand Formation to completely purify the entire illusory spirit space. Therefore, absorbing the origin chi won't cause any harm to your body. Mu Yiyue pursed her lips and smiled when she saw Xiao Yan frowning slightly. Xiao Yan smiled and his heart eased up. No matter what, when he thought of absorbing the corpse's body, he thought of it. No one would feel good about the origin monarch chi. This is not the main point. After those experts died, many treasures on their bodies were scattered within. There is no harm in having some shocking secret treasures. Although they have been plundered for a long period of time, no one can say for sure what kind of great opportunity they will encounter. Mu Yiyue gently smiled. Her words were filled with enticement, causing Xiao Yan's heart to be moved when he heard it. Those who were able to participate in the spatial battle during the ancient times were those who were able to participate in the spatial battle. Could he be a giant? If he could really obtain some inheritance, it would definitely bring great benefits to his strength. A few years ago, a Heaven's Chosen One from the Star Sky Academy was equivalent to the Saint-rank trial participant of the Yunluo. He obtained an ancient divine weapon in the illusory spirit space, and his strength was extremely formidable. When combined with a heavenly weapon that was more convenient, even a monarch emperor warrior wouldn't be a match for him. As for that man, if nothing goes wrong, the 4 academies competition will be a match for my brother in a few years' time. After hearing Mu Yiyu's words, Xiao Yan silently nodded his head. The ancient heavenly weapon obtained from illusory spirit space, even if it couldn't be compared to a high-ranked heavenly weapon, it would still be extremely powerful. It could even challenge a monarch emperor. In the entire Yunluo Academy, only Mu Yuyang and Lin Dao could be his match. Although Big Brother didn't obtain any great fortune in the illusory spirit space, Lin Dao did gain something from it. That Imperial Dragon Point Blue Spear was obtained in the illusory spirit space. Although it's only a low-grade heavenly weapon, it's much stronger than my purple spirit sword. Even Big Brother's heavenly net sword is slightly weaker. Lin Dao. Upon hearing this name, Xiao Yan couldn't help but nod his head. Yuan Tianmu had also said that Lin Dao had entered the realm in Valley with him. In a few short years, Lin Dao was ranked second in the realm in Valley, second only to Mu Yuyang. It was likely that this heavenly weapon had contributed to this. Although the illusory spirit space is full of danger, it is also filled with many opportunities. Although the place where those demons gather is dangerous, it is very likely to be the place where an expert dies. If you are brave enough, you can make a trip there. If you succeed, your strength will be greatly enhanced. At this point, Mu Yiyu's eyes flashed with a trace of slyness as she looked at Xiao Yan and said with a smile. Xiao Yan helplessly shook his head. Although he was also tempted, no matter what, he should prioritize saving his life in the illusory spirit space. Those so-called powerful warriors must have their lives to enjoy. Do what you can, and stop when you see something good. These are the words that the elders will remind us every year. Although it doesn't sound comfortable, it's best to keep it in mind. After all, there are still many students who have died in illusory spirit space over the years. Mu Yiyue shrugged her shoulders and said. Xiao Yan sighed and nodded. No matter what, life was the most important. As for those ancient remains, it still depended on luck. One in the quiet valley, Xiao Yan and Mu Yiyue sat opposite each other. The latter told Xiao Yan everything she knew about the illusory spirit space in detail. Xiao Yan naturally remembered it in his heart, and the feeling of being unfamiliar with the illusory spirit space gradually disappeared. Buzz. Xiao Yan, who was seriously listening to Mu Yiyu's introduction, suddenly changed his expression. His eyes looked towards the east in fear. At that spot, an extremely ferocious aura was swiftly surging over. It was much stronger than a monarch emperor. Heavenly beast. Xiao Yan was quite familiar with this aura. Back when he and Jade Fairy had killed the Earth-Fire Profound Crystal Beast together, he had felt this kind of brutal aura from the latter. Although the aura here was not comparable to the Earth-Fire Profound Crystal Beast, it still caused one to feel extremely uneasy. Mu Yiyue also sensed it. A trace of surprise flashed across her pretty eyes. Immediately, she cried out softly. It is the heavenly beast. It should be the aura that spread over it just now that woke it up. We are not a match for it. Quickly leave this place. As she spoke, Mu Yiyu's delicate body moved and rushed out like a white lightning. Xiao Yan did not dare to show any neglect, even though his body still felt a slight pain. But at this moment, he couldn't care much about it. He circulated the origin monarch chi in his body, and a magnificent energy circulated under his feet. He then followed Mu Yiyue and rushed in the direction of the Yunluo Academy. A moment later, a huge heavenly beast flapped its broad wings and rushed over. It stopped above the sky where Xiao Yan and Mu Yiyue were fighting. A trace of anger flashed across its huge bloody eyes. He looked in the direction of the Yunluo Academy and gritted his teeth. In the end, he didn't chase after them. When the Yunluo Academy was established, many of the elders of the academy had swept through the mountains. They had personally come to threaten these powerful heavenly beasts. Anyone who dared to take half a step into the Yunluo Academy must be killed. The Yunluo Academy was a man of their word. They had killed a few Emperor Cultivation level high-grade heavenly beasts that had intruded into the academy on the spot. It had easily achieved an intimidating effect. Even the blood flame scaled beast, who was the overlord of this region, did not dare to step into the lightning pool. A few damn brats. How dare they attack the heavenly spring? Dream on. The blood flame scaled beast let out an angry roar, then it turned around and left indignantly. Even though its current strength had been greatly reduced, it still didn't dare to step into the lightning pool. Hong Long. The blood flame scaled beast let out a furious roar, then it turned around and left indignantly. Even though it had lost a lot of its strength, even if that Mu Yuyang came, he would never return. Xiao Yan and Mu Yiyue finally slowed down when they sensed the departure of the blood flame scaled beast. They let out a sigh of relief. A look of understanding flashed across Mu Yiyu's eyes. Suddenly, she said softly, Blood flame scaled beast, this is a big fellow on the Academy's ferocious beast ranking. It actually appeared here. Xiao Yan was stunned when he heard this. Ferocious beast ranking? What was this thing again? It's the same as the fierce ranking. This ferocious beast ranking is also a ranking list of the powerful devil beasts in the surroundings. The only difference is that most of the information on it isn't accurate. This is because the strength of the devil beast is different from that of humans. It can suddenly increase at any time. Seeing Xiao Yan's gaze, Mu Yiyue pondered for a moment and said. Then, she looked into the distance and frowned slightly. Strange. According to common sense, a heavenly beast of this level should be deep in the mountains. Why would it appear here? After muttering to herself, Mu Yiyue's expression suddenly changed. She looked at Xiao Yan and smiled. To be able to attract this big guy out, there must be something good around here. How is it? Are you interested in exploring it? He looked at Mu Yiyue's smiling eyes. Xiao Yan reacted and shook his head without any hesitation. He lightly smiled and said, Senior sister is joking. With my strength, I am afraid that I will not be able to pose any threat to this heavenly beast. Senior sister can go if you want to. I think I'll just forget about it. Mu Yiyue frowned when she saw Xiao Yan's straightforward refusal. She pouted and put this thought aside. Initially, she wanted to go with Xiao Yan. With the Fire Lotus's ultimate skill of the latter, she could at least buy some time for the blood flame-scaled beast. She didn't expect the latter to reject her so decisively. She naturally wouldn't dare to go alone. Forget it. Just pretend I didn't say anything. We are about to enter the illusory spirit space. It's better to prepare in advance. Mu Yiyue smiled gently. Her body turned and rushed towards the direction of the Yunluo Academy. This trip to the illusory spirit space, she must be fully prepared. She must not waste any time. Xiao Yan turned his head and took a look at the blood flame-scaled beast that had disappeared. He frowned and followed Mu Yiyue. You must be careful when you enter the illusory spirit space this time. You must not undo the curse unless absolutely necessary. In a courtyard in Yunluo Academy, Elder Wu looked at Wu Shaoqi, who was smiling cheekily in front of him. He shook his head and sighed. This. He touched a black pattern on the back of his neck that was almost undetectable. Wu Shaoqi pouted and then said indifferently, I know. How many times have you told me? Last time in the competition with Lu Xiangyang, if this was solved, he would still be lying in bed. How could he become the second place in Soaring Dragon ranking? Seeing Wu Shaoqi's angry expression, Elder Wu said helplessly, It's just a competition. Why are you so persistent? Whoever is stronger will be weaker. We, these old fellows, also have an idea in our hearts. Spending your life for a false ranking is not worth it. HMPH. Fake. Since it's fake, why bother with the competition? After muttering to herself, Wu Shaoqi sat on a stone bench at the side with a face full of displeasure. Ever since the competition, most of the students in the punishment department were discussing Lu Xiangyang's strength. As proud as she was, how could she accept it? This child. Elder Wu smiled bitterly and changed the topic. Jokes are jokes. In any case, in the illusory spirit space, you must act according to your abilities. I see. In all these years, Lin Dao was the only one who had gained something in the illusory spirit space. Don't hold too much hope in there. As long as your strength increases a little, it won't be a waste for you to enter. All right. It's not like this is my first time going in. Besides, didn't I still manage to survive the dangerous situation in illusory spirit realm? Rolling her eyes, Wu Shaoqi made a face at Elder Wu. All right, do what you can and stop when you see fit. I am almost sick of listening. I will remember this. Don't worry, I will go and prepare. As she spoke, Wu Shaoqi jumped up from the stone bench and left in a few flashes. Looking at Wu Shaoqi's back as she left, Elder Wu let out a long sigh. His aged eyes were filled with misery because of the existence of the curse. Wu Shaoqi had obtained a powerful trump card, but at the same time, it also increased the loss of her life. Every time she used that move. Now, Wu Shaoqi had lost almost a year's worth of life. If an expert were to examine the fluctuations of life force within her body, it would be less than 10 years. On the heavenly peak, Xiao Yan told Xuan and Kai Lin all the information he obtained from Mu Yiyue. Although the two girls were quite moved, it was also very wise. As the saying goes, opportunities come by fate, and searching blindly would not be of much use. After understanding the situation in the illusory spirit space, the three of them began to rest. Before opening the door, they recovered their physical and mental strength to the best. During these few days, Xiao Yan and the two girls had been in the heavenly peak. Occasionally, they would refine a few medicine pills to feel their hands. When no one disturbed them, 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. The opening day of the illusory spirit space also arrived as scheduled. 0 At the entrance of the realm and valley, there were 2 towering mountain peaks that looked like they were carved by knives and axes. The depths of these mountain peaks were filled with endless fog. There was a mysterious formation within the fog that separated the inner academy and the realm and valley. Regardless of whether one wanted to enter or exit, one had to step over this formation. At this moment, there were already dozens of people here. Upon closer inspection, it was Xiao Yan and the others. Elder Wu stood on a tall platform. His eyes swept across the 10 students below and spoke sternly. Before we go in, I will emphasize one more time. Do what you can and stop when you see something good. Opportunities are not something that can be found. Entering the illusory spirit space is the best way to save your life. The 10 students below had obviously learned about the situation in the illusory spirit space from various sources, and they all nodded their heads in agreement. Xiao Yan stood in the middle of the crowd and raised his head to look. After this competition, although the ranking on the Soaring Dragon ranking had changed greatly, only 4 new people had entered. They were him, Zhu Tianwo. The rest of them had entered the illusory spirit space before. They clearly knew more about the situation than the 4 of them. All right, after you all enter the realm and valley, the elders inside will work together to open the illusory spirit space. Remember, you must be careful. Elder Wu reminded them again, feeling worried. He waved his sleeve, and a few third-grade elders nearby nodded. The vigorous origin monarch chi in their bodies gushed out of their bodies at the same time. After going through a special seal, it rushed into the dense fog in the valley. Buzz. A buzzing sound that seemed to shake the sky sounded. In the next moment, under everyone's gaze, the dense fog that was lingering in the valley swiftly scattered. A huge entrance extended from within. Lu Xiangyang, bring them in. When he saw the entrance being opened, Elder Wu immediately looked at Lu Xiangyang and said. The latter had been appointed as the captain of the punishment department for the past few days. He also held a high position in the punishment department. In the punishment department, he could be considered to be below 1 person and above 10,000 people. Yes, Lu Xiangyang proudly replied. He turned around and waved his hand. After which, he took the lead and walked towards the entrance. These few days could be considered the peak of his life. Not only was he ranked 2nd in the Soaring Dragon ranking, but he had also become the captain of the punishment department. He had completely suppressed Wu Shaoqi. In the competition 1 year later, he would be able to enter the realm and valley no matter what. Seeing Lu Xiangyang's arrogant performance, Wu Shaoqi snorted lightly and followed Mu Yuyue. Watching the 10 people leave, Elder Wu lightly sighed. He mumbled to himself, I hope all of you can return safely. Xiao Yan, Xuan Kai Lin, and the 2 girls walked together. When they passed the center of the valley, their souls seemed to have a special feeling. It was as if there was something in the mountains on both sides that turned this place into a forbidden area. This should be a formation. Xiao Yan looked at the valleys on both sides and his heart began to spin rapidly. However, his feet did not slow down. Soon, he disappeared into the fog with the others. The dense fog scattered once again. What appeared in front of everyone was a brand new world. In front of everyone's eyes, there were no longer the continuous mountains and subscale buildings within the inner academy. There were only 10 lush green mountains scattered across the land. Each mountain peak seemed to emit a unique aura. Further away, there was an endless forest, which was dark and strange. You've come. In front of them, Su Ziyang stood with his hands behind his back. His face was full of smiles as he looked at Xiao Yan's group of 10 people. Behind him stood Mu Yuyang's group of 10 people. Beside him were a few elders that Xiao Yan had never seen before. Elder Su, the 10 people on the Soaring Dragon ranking have arrived. Lu Xiangyang hurriedly and respectfully greeted Su Ziyang when he saw him. The former was not only one of the 2 great elders in charge of the inner academy, but also the manager of the realm in valley. Similarly, he was also in charge of the punishment department. It could be said that he was his top superior. All right, let's begin. Su Ziyang nodded. He leapt and floated in the air. The other few elders also rose and formed a strange formation in the air. All of you, come here. Seeing that the elders had started to activate the illusory spirit space, Mu Yuyang looked at Xiao Yan and the other 3 elders indifferently. After the illusory spirit space is opened, there will be a wave of gloomy qi in this world. Be careful and protect yourselves. After hearing Mu Yuyang's words, although Lu Xiangyang and the other experts on the soaring dragon ranking had entered before, they still nodded their heads in agreement. As for the former, even they had to protect themselves. Understood. Xiao Yan stood in the crowd and swept his eyes over the 10 people from the realm in valley. He had seen most of them in the Heaven Pillar Peak before. This time around, he only saw 2 unfamiliar faces. That's Xiao Yi? Xiao Yan muttered. The 2 unfamiliar faces were both wearing green robes. The only difference was that one looked calm and indifferent while the other looked gloomy. Boom! While Xiao Yan was deep in thought, an enormous vibration suddenly echoed in midair. In an instant, a crack extended from space. Under the joint control of Su Changfa and the others, the crack grew larger and larger, extending from midair to the ground. Hoo! As soon as the crack touched the ground, an endless gloomy air spread out from it. It was extremely cold, and the surrounding rocks were instantly covered in a layer of ice. With Mu Yuyang's reminder, Xiao Yan and the rest immediately wrapped themselves with Origin Monarch Qis. A moment later, the endless sinister aura slowly scattered. It's done. After joining hands to open the illusory spirit space, Elder Su softly cried out. More than half of the Origin Monarch Qi in his body had been used up, and he fell down from the sky. He looked at the crowd with a solemn expression, and said in a clear voice, "Before we go in, let me remind you one more thing. Last time, it was the Star Sky Academy who used the illusory spirit space. After 2 months, no one knew if they would do anything to the illusory spirit space." Smiling, Elder Su shrugged his shoulders and said, "In short, it's that old saying, act according to your abilities and stop when you see fit. After entering, it will depend on your luck." After listening to Elder Su's words, Xiao Yan and the others were startled. The Star Sky Academy was tampering inside. While Xiao Yan and the others were still in a daze, Mu Yuyang smiled. His body was wrapped by the Origin Monarch Qi. With a flash, he rushed into the spatial crack and entered the illusory spirit space. With his strength, he wouldn't be afraid even if he was tampered with by the Star Sky Academy. At the same time that Mu Yuyang moved, a golden Origin Monarch Qi emerged from Lin Dao's body. He entered the illusory spirit space with Mu Yuyang, one in front of the other. Swoosh! Swoosh! With the 2 of them taking the lead, Yuan Tianmu, Su Qingwu, Zhan Kai and the rest also rushed in without any hesitation. At this time, they were racing against time. The earlier they went in, the sooner they would kill a monster. After refining the origin bead, their strength would increase a little earlier. At the same time that the Realm and Valley students entered, Mu Yiyue, Lu Xiangyang, Wu Xiaoqi and the rest did not slow down at all. They all used their movement techniques and rushed in. Flames curled around Zhu Tianwo's body as he followed everyone in. Xiao Yan, Xuan and Kai Lin were the last to enter. Although they would be separated after entering, if they entered at the same time, perhaps the distance between them would be closer. When everyone had entered the illusory spirit space, Su Ziyang looked at the slowly closing spatial crack and called out softly. "Let's wait and see. We'll see what kind of result it will be 15 days later." The other elders wiped the sweat off their foreheads and nodded. They had no idea what would happen this time. Who among these 20 people would obtain such a great opportunity? Su Ziyang's eyes flashed. He did not say anything else and left this place in a flash. Only the group of elders and the slowly wiggling and closing spatial crack were left behind.